Mhm.
Hi, everybody, and hi, my beautiful cosmic sister, Corinne Mooney, all the way from Arizona, right? Mesa, Arizona,
Mhm.
to
Yes.
be direct and very specific. So, welcome everybody to Cosmic Sister Show with Anne and Corinne, and today's discussion is going to be about Beyond the Veil. Unraveling the mysteries of near death experiences. And that is a juicy one, to be honest, because this is
Mhm.
something that a lot of people are asking about. So, step with us into the shimmering threshold where life and eternity meet. Together, we will journey beyond the veil, exploring the profound stories and soul awakenings that near death experiences reveal. This live gathering is a sacred circle for cosmic Sis-Stars, more of us, um, and cosmic brother stars, right? Bro
Yeah.
stars.
Uh-huh.
And courage weaving together insights that remind us where we are more than our bodies, more than this moment, and we are eternal sparks of light. And we do really we are. It's no question about that. So we radiate. And today we have Wednesday, November 26th in US and Europe, and in our future in Australia, November 27th, as always. You can find upcoming and past episodes at our brand new YouTube channel for Cosmic Guardians at youtube.com/at Cosmic Guardians 111. And we will continue to stream on the other one, that is youtube.com/at Angel Place on Earth/streams throughout the year so that everybody's going to find this brand new channel. It's always, when you start something new, you want to make sure that people are going to find it. And you
Mhm.
can find our series at angelplaceonearth.com/series dash cosmic dash guardians. And you can find all our episodes on both YouTube channels, of course, and also at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash post. Our last show on Cosmic Guardians was last Wednesday, November 19th, and we talked about awakening the sixth sense, a journey into psychic sensitivity. And that was also a very interesting show. So if you missed that, go to angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. We do go live on YouTube every week for you, every Wednesday in US and Europe, and very early morning in Australia. But you are our future, right? So that will be sometimes in the middle of or 3, 4, 5, depends on the time of the year,
Yes.
AM in the morning. You can connect with us, read articles, and find out all about us at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. And of course, again, so you don't miss any episode, angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. So I think a lot of talking right now from me, right? So let's dive.
Oh,
Let's lift the veil. Step into the other side.
what a juicy subject. I think we all live our lives knowing that we feel something that is beyond us, but it's just out of sight. And in that arena lies our true and complete awareness of our divine connection to the universe and our unique place in the completion of this wonderful masterpiece that we are experiencing. We can
Yes.
feel the presence of peace, but not fully comprehend where it's coming from because it's clouded in a mist.
Yes.
And and I know at times we'll feel that we have a little bit of a recognition, and but we don't know how to put it into feeling. And more and more people that are having the experience of actually stopping their heart in the physical world by whatever happens, accident, illness, whatever, and being able to slide through the veil. But this is a gentle reminder of who we really are.
And that is perfect. I'm just posting a little bit here. So, what happens when we transition over to the other side? That's a part of those questions I do work with on a kind
Mm-hmm.
of a daily basis. A lot of people are wondering because I feel that we are excited and interested and curious about what's going on, but very few have conscious memories. I don't have a conscious memory on the transition itself, but I meet entities or loved ones, ancestors, guides. I love to say the word entities because that includes everybody on the other
Yes.
side. And for me, they appear like energy. And sometimes they show themselves as um, can be a part of them. Like I'm being shown this part of someone, or this part of someone, or they show me a hat, or they show me a tool or something. But my experience is that they want to put light on something that was very significant for them,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you give a message, the other person is going to recognize who it is, who is coming, right? I also have to say that I'm very, very, um, I want them to verify themselves when they're coming. It's not good enough for me just, hey, how are you today? So I want to know who they are. It's not about being afraid, but it's about because in our world, um, there are all kinds of entities with
Yes.
different energies. So we want to know what we are talking to or who's coming,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Well, you know how I love little babies, and little children live between the worlds until they are forcibly taught that that is not real. And so they come and go between in the veil very easily. And I have found that in the especially the Western society, they have taught everybody to fear death, that it's final, and that it's horrible, and they make such a big to do about it. And it's really not respect for the people. It's, well, I'm going to the funeral because I love this person, and yet you never spoke to this person. So it's all a pretense. And throughout our history and our evolution, we have had people that have been seers, shaman, and the mystics who were able to tap through the illusion
Yeah,
of the veil and then return with knowledge to help us grow and to help us move through. And that has been our way of communicating with, quote, the other side. And when people do have a near death experience, Of course, science tries to discredit it, and oh, you've got to be imagining it. Oh, it was the medicine. Oh, this. Oh, that. And the first person I ever had contact with that had had that experience and also had incredible, impeccable credentials was Buzz Aldrin. And he was one of the astronauts that went to the moon. And he came to Unity, and his talk was about going through the veil. Now, here is a bona fide, classified PhD scientist, and he had a near death experience. After a horrible car wreck, he watched as the paramedics, tried to put him back together, and he watched when they took him to the hospital. He watched the surgery, and he remembers everything in detail. Well, of course, in his position, he couldn't come back and say, "Oh, I just had an experience I want to talk about," because it didn't fit into the norm. This was before quantum physics was accepted. So, in his story, he says that he became a weekend new age junkie, going to these places where this had happened and everything else, trying to get answers, from a scientific point of view, and found a friend of his, another scientist, that was a closet new ager and was doing all kinds of testing. And in California, they decided to see if there was communication beyond the body. So they took some cells out of the side of his mouth and put them in a petri dish and hooked that petri dish up to an EKG machine. And he came back to Arizona, living his life, and he wrote down, oh, I was stuck in traffic. Oh, somebody this or that or that. And he kept a record of everything that happened to him. And every time there was an influx in what he was doing, it was recorded in California.
Wow.
We connect to the oneness we've just been taught that we do not.
Exactly. And basically, um, easily explained. So the body, that's only our vehicle here. And
Mm-hmm.
it's temporarily, it's not who we are. It's something it's like a suit. We take it on and
Mm-hmm.
we have a zipper, right?
Exactly.
And when we go back through the veil to the other side, then we go back home. And I heard almost everybody that are approaching from the other side that they're home. It's not that complicated on the other side. It's easier.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a conscious near-death experience myself, but I've been in states where I've been so relaxed that I was fully aware, fully conscious I mean, on the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't move and I felt like waves in my body. But I know also that when we go to sleep, even though we don't remember, we travel through dimensions and we go to a lot of places. Those vivid dreams where we have that sense that I met someone I know, maybe they crossed over, or maybe sometimes it can be a person still living, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have conversations, we talk about things. It's just like we kind of met up, the same exact feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, all of those stories, near death experiences, when people have an experience that they come back and they've seen themselves, that is so fascinating.
Yes, and the beauty is that because it is becoming more of a normality, And science just doesn't have any answers. They are finally going, well, this was an experience that we can't explain, so we're going to allow it to be in mainstream. We're not going to keep fighting against it so animately that convincing these people that they're going crazy or they were on drugs or they did this. My own experience, my wonderful little courageous Jimmy, uh, when he came into the world, he was told that his mission was to bring love, laughter, and joy, and let us know how to have courage to continue doing what we're doing. And for 11 years, he had surgery. At 6 months, he had heart surgery. And then he had many surgeries on his hands to make them usable. And he always would ask me, he says, Mom, what's it going to be like? And in my limited vocabulary, I tried to explain, well, this is what it'll look like, and this is maybe what it's going to be like. So we had a trust. So when he was 11 and needed to have his heart repaired, we went to the heart surgeon, the best in Arizona. And after that conversation, Jimmy is walking between his father and I, and he looks up at me and he says, Mom, he says, there's a chance I might die, isn't there? And I said, yes. And my husband, who's now an ex, he looked at me like, well, I'm going to get you. You never say things like that. And Jimmy and I sat in the backyard pulling weeds, going to get that kid working, till the last moment. And he says, Mom, he says, if I were to die, when would it happen? And I said, well, I don't think you'll get well and then all of a sudden it'll happen. I think it will just happen. He says, well, what will it feel like? I said, I know you'll be free. You'll be able to come and go as you please. And he says, well, what's heaven like? And I go, kind of sort of forgot. But I would think that if you took something you loved while you were here on earth and multiplied it by every star in every galaxy, you might get a glimmer of what it's like. And there again, I used the same reference you did. I said,
Yeah,
your body's like bedroom slippers. You need them when you're clunking around down here on earth. And after that, you slide them under the bed. You don't need them anymore because you're on another adventure.
exactly. There is actually a book, and I should have researched that before came on live here, but I forgot about it. It's very intriguing. It's written in the beginning of the 1900s of actually a Swedish author.
Mm-hmm.
And I read two of his books. It's like you start with one, and there is a part two if you want to, but you can finish off with only the first. That was around 2006 when I went to mediumship course
Oh,
here in
yes.
Stockholm. So they suggested a few things, a few films, a few books, and stuff of that nature, just to have a broad perspective about things. And I think that's important always. Um, his name is Oscar Buch, I think, if I say it a little bit unusual Swedish last name. But the content is how souls, when we go back home, when we transition over back, going through the veil back home, how we interact with each other, how it looks like. But that's also perception, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
that we see what we think we can see. Beyond that, and we talked about that before, it's a little bit difficult for us to express and explain.
Yes.
But they followed each other um, through lifetimes, the same people, and sometimes if they had some sort on the other side back home, There were no arguments, no misunderstandings. It was not complicated. When they came back in different forms, right? People all the time, like persons with a soul, but in different constellations. Sometimes they were brothers, or they were husband and wife, or they could be siblings, or they could be a wife to a sister or a brother, family, someone close by. And if they had misunderstandings, they always came to the conclusion on the other side, we're going to sort that out the next time.
Mhm. Yes.
But coming back, not remembering, you know, even if there is a recognition. Um, for me personally, I don't believe that we really do have to sort things out like a karmic thing. I don't think we
No.
come here to sort out karma. But there are sometimes tension with certain people, and we can feel that. Or, like I explained, I met someone yesterday outside of the mall here, and he said, I'm from the universe. And I said, well, I'm from cosmos. And he laughed at me and he said, I know you. Yeah, I know you know me, and
Yeah.
I know you. So that was kind of interesting. But we have that sense that we do recognize each other, and that's so beautiful.
Yes. That's interesting that you said that. It brought us something to mind. When I go in and fill out any application in the doctor's office, and they'll say, are you African American? Da 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 da, and I just put human. you know, I, I understand that each different race has unique things that happen within them, but first of all, I'm just human. And my experience after Jimmy passed, um, I was not. I was not sure if the insurance was going to pay for his operation. Wasn't sure if my husband's job was going to be renewed. There were a lot of things that were going on, and then especially, having just gone through,
Yeah, the
that
loss of a child.
the
Yeah.
loss of the child, and so I'm standing at the kitchen window, and I'm uh, my personality again, and I said, Jimmy, I said, I know that heaven and earth have got to be on different time tracks. So, kid, if you've got any clout, now's the time to bring in those markers because we really need some help. Well, about 2 weeks later, I had some reason that I was going to go into the fourth bedroom where we were going to have Jimmy as he recovered. When I stepped into the room, I stepped through the veil. The room was so brilliant that if you saw this light with your human eyes, you would be instantly blinded. The closest thing that I've ever seen is the silver linings under the clouds, and that's not even as brilliant as it was. So pure. And the feeling, there is no human word in any language that can explain the ecstasy of complete unconditional love and peace and serenity. And because our minds do want to find something that looks in the norm to us, Jimmy came walking towards me. No, he did not have a halo and wings. And he walked up to me and he says, Mom, he says, heaven is everything and more. And he says, and I'm so happy. And the tears that I'm having now are not because of loss, but because I couldn't stay. you know, I had to come back. And it's amazing because 20 years later, Jimmy was born in 62, and my sixth child, my surprise package, was born in 83.
Wow.
And she needed to come into this world and I needed to be here. And also, if I'd looked at my contract, my life contract, it says, no, you need to hang around a little longer. But there is no room for conflict. And it's not because everything is just so peachy. It's because in the energy form, we have learned to resolve things with frequency and harmony and balance. There is no competition. And
No.
and we didn't come here to resolve situations with others. That's my feeling. As much as we came here to help create the new harmony and the new energy that our beautiful Gaia is moving towards. We came here to be holders of the truth and bearers of the light,
Yeah.
and to help bring this into a reality, because as pure humans, we are awesome.
We are awesome. And um I'm very touched by the story about he was your firstborn as well,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
That was a very wise and also very, very much.
Oh, yes. That's what he came to do.
Yes.
Was, and a
And
wild, dynamic personality he was. You
yeah.
know?
And if we think in these terms now, there is no death in that sense. It's a transition.
Yes.
We transform like the butterfly. We transform into another form, the essence of who we are. So when we go through the passage or slips through the veil or transition to the other side, it's a sacred in between where time and space is, right?
Hmm.
Um, our experience, I think, and I'm going to stick my nose out here. My perception of this is that we are properly colored. So those who tell a story and come back, I think that we are colored by what we think we know, because there are also coming new stories
Yes.
at this point. Many talk about a tunnel of light. They can see the light over there at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
And others say that there's actually the true place we're going to go is the void, um, that
The
is black,
oneness. Yeah.
the nothingness. And that can sound really scary, but the nothingness is filled with everything. We
Exactly.
just call it and label it nothingness, right? And it's black.
Yes. Because there is no thing, no sound, no nothing, because everything is real. And when I take my group into meditation, I have been assigned the responsibility of being able to hold open the energy to the oneness so others may touch it without having to spend years and years and years trying to get to it. And this is when you're talking energy in the oneness, even though you're not having your perception of what your mind has been taught. And as I said, we see things on the other side so we can kind of put a grasp on what we're experiencing until you learn to grasp it just from an energetic point of view. And there is nothing wrong with that, but that's why the stories vary. Oh, I saw, this person, I saw that. I remember connecting to that, because putting it in some way that their mind can
Can
justify
grasp.
what they did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're just reliving moments of joy in their life, and moments
Yes.
maybe of decision making. But
Yeah.
it's but after you've taken that little trip, you no longer go along. Oh, Well, yes, I love the earth. I love just being here. I love, the interaction with people, but I am not attached to this world, and I can move in and out of the worlds very easily. And at least 4 times I have assisted people moving to the other side. And one was my mother, and she was hesitant to go, and I stood with one foot in the beyond the veil and one foot, and I said, "Come on, Mom." I said, "The door's open." Another beautiful soul, his name was Scott. And after having melanoma for many years, hospice was there to say, okay, you're going to die in 42 minutes, you're going to die in 39 minutes, and so forth. And I said, "Scott, is this what you want?" He says, "No." He says, "I have things to do." And so I said, "Okay, I'll work with you." And I started using energy, and he would fill his tank, and he was able to get through things. He went a year and a half past his death
Oh, wow.
date.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, "When you're ready, Scott, I'll be there with you." So he calls me up one Saturday night, says, "I'm ready to go." I said, "Okay." I went over and I sat, and I was holding his hand. And he says, "How we doing, partner?" I said, "Scott, see what I see. Feel what I feel. The door is open." His wife came in and said, "You want some medication?" And Scott says, "Nope, I have an appointment." And he stepped through.
It's a- yeah.
Now I didn't know I had that. I didn't know that that was not one of my tools, but I have been called on several other times, and completely out of the blue because it's not on my card. And a lovely lady said her aunt that she loved dearly was 90 years old and was going to have to live in a nursing home after her fall. And she really wanted to leave, but everybody was saying, "Stay, stay, stay." So I went and I talked to her, and I said, "Hey," I said, "you got any boyfriends that you got to meet up with?" "No." I said, "Have you done everything that you wanted to do on this plane?" She says, "Yep, pretty much." And I said, "Would you like to see where you're going?" I said, "I'm a real estate agent, and I can take you to Heavenly Highway or Angel Avenue, and let you have a glimmer." So I held her hands, and she was able to experience the other side.
Wow.
3 days later, this young lady called me up and said, "My aunt passed so peacefully." And I going, "How do I put that on a business card?"
Now that's not possible, right?
Yes,
That is such a beautiful task to be able to help someone, right?
yes.
Crossing over. I have been differently sending Reiki and things of that nature, right? Because that
Mhm.
works too, but I haven't really crossed someone over in that sense. I met them. I do meet them after they come back.
Oh,
They
yeah.
try to find me. Yeah.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. And
You
after
know,
I yes, go ahead.
no, I just wanted to say that there are many who are having those near-death experiences that are crossing over and coming back. Many of them will return with memories, right?
Hmm.
Others have met loved ones, or they have met guides, or they have met entities. And I think it depends on your belief system and what you think
Hmm.
what you have experienced about, right? Because
Yes.
I think it's common for a Christian to meet Mother Mary or Jesus,
Yep.
or for a Muslim to meet the Prophet, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's kind of natural. But I want to ask you something intriguing for me. There are those who come back from a near-death experience, something traumatic happened, right? Very often. But there have been a switch of souls, a walk-in.
That can happen. That can happen. And and once you have really allowed the possibility of having the experience, you are profoundly awakened, and you are, I think it is touching the memory of the essence of the cell itself, and
Yes,
kind of reigniting it. And I remember one time I had a real experience of that was when I was becoming a Reiki master teacher. And I knew that she was going to test us on all that we had learned. So I
yes.
am I am practicing for the 45-minute drive that I go there. And I open the door and she looks at me. She says, "What have you been doing?" I said, "I've been practicing." She said, "You reattuned yourself. You started every cell in your body at the spin that it had at the moment of birth." And I'm going, "Oh, well, that was cool." But I think when we actually have that experience, we are kind of reignited because we have the memory and the knowledge. And
Mm.
sometimes we are able to use it on this side, but so many people come back changed in as much as they can feel and experience compassion at a very higher level. They find that they become more of an empath, and they are fearless.
Yeah.
They'll say, "Yes, I'm going to tell other people about that." "Well, you're going to be shot down." "Well, that's okay. It's no problem."
Yeah, and but there is such a thing as it's not an attachment. It's a conscious switch of souls, right? So
Yes,
when one soul goes back and the other one comes in, I don't know if it can happen. I think it can happen without trauma as well. But it usually when you are sleeping or something, you're not consciously walking on the street or something,
yes.
or cooking dinner or whatever. But it's I talked to one person one time that had that experience. She said that she didn't really remember, she didn't have the memory from that past. She learned a few things when she came in as the new soul, but she didn't have the detailed memory
Yes.
of the life that she had up until, I think it happened for her around the age of 25, 30,
Yeah.
something. And that can feel strange for people, but it's not something to fear. It's not anything wrong. It's something we do agree on.
Hmm. My crew has told me that there's been many times that I have been a walk-in. This lifetime, I did experience the whole adventure of being born in this body, and I remember when this experience I had with Jimmy happened. To me, it felt so normal. I did not know that I was out of the box. However, I never told a soul about it because it was so intimate that it was my story. And after that experience, even in all the chaos of life, I felt a sense of peace, a sense of belonging. And somehow I knew I was not alone, and I saw things more clearly, and I became aware of things.
Yeah.
But I also found that my perception of how I interpreted things was bringing me new insights. And I didn't know that I had gone through something that was really transformational. I just did like I always do. Well, that was cool. Okay, what's next? I did have to experience a lot of life before I stepped into my true self, though. And but it was like trying on new aspects of my soul. And
Yeah.
I had a lot of trials and tribulations, but when the time was right, I stepped into becoming a universal Reiki master teacher and an infinite soul communicator. And these, I didn't, when you go to career day at school, these are not on the acceptable career paths.
No.
But I grew into it. And when the time was right and the soul was ready to, quote, go with the flow,
Yeah.
then through synchronicity, little things started happening because I was speaking to some of my people last night at meditation, and I said, if I had met me even 20 years ago, and I've been doing this for almost 50 years, if I had met me even 20 years ago, I'd go, okay, let's not talk to that person, let her do her thing. But because if I were hearing myself talk to myself 20 years ago, I would, be,
Yeah. You know, we have norms. But you said when you had your experience with your son that you didn't want, you cried because he didn't want to come back. And that's a very
exactly.
usual reaction.
Yeah.
Many who have crossed the veil, transitioned over, had a near-death experience. They don't want
Yeah.
to come back.
The
I
exact
want to
words,
remain here.
the
Don't
exact
bring me
words
back.
I used, yeah, were, um, if anyone has been to Disneyland, in the very beginning of Disneyland, when you brought a bunch of tickets, you got an E ticket for all the good rides and a B ticket and everything else for the ones that just and everything else. So everybody was always saving their E tickets so they could see all the rides. And I remember saying to myself when I stepped back from the veil and I go, yeah, I guess I didn't have an E ticket for that ride. I gotta I gotta save up. But yeah.
And I think it's because if you would have that experience as your version as you are right now, you would have seen that differently because now you are already aware, right? But I
Yes.
think that for someone who may be starting to be curious or haven't really digged into things, having such an experience, it's life changing. Really, it's life changing because it gives the perspective that there is no death. We are living in eternity. It's beautiful, you know. And
Yes.
they say that the return is the most challenging part, usually, because you feel that love on the other side. You can feel the energy. You see a lot of faces that you remember. Some of them you may remember even if they crossed over when you were an infant. There is some sort of memory. You recognize them. You know it's them, right?
Yes.
But you know, it's the truth. It's the lightness. There's no heaviness. You don't have to carry around your body, your suit.
No. And
And you know, perception of things. You just think of it and you're there. It's a different way of um, existence. That's the word I'm looking for.
yes. And I've asked myself many times, why would I be chosen to follow this path? Because I'm certainly not, as I would describe somebody that was gifted in being a spiritual, inspirational speaker, a healer, or anything special. And
Because you are who you are. That's why.
exactly. But when I asked that question to my crew, uh, they just the other side has such a great sense of humor, and
Yeah, they are.
they just lovingly laugh, and they say, it is through your unique personality that you touch others.
Yeah, it
And
is.
how can I argue with that? Because I'm kind of out there on a limb.
And something else. It's not up there or beyond over there. It's here around us.
Yes.
It's just, the veil, which we may feel is something very, very thick, it's like a drapery or something, right? It's
Yeah,
thin.
it
It's
is.
like if I stretch my arm here, I'm on the other side
Ex-
already.
exactly. Exactly. And but one of the things that I am so compelled to do when I meet people is to say, you are cherished. You are loved. You are uniquely divine. And I see you. I appreciate you. And I welcome you to your expression as a pure, incredible human. I love you.
That's beautiful. That is so perfect, right? That's
Mm.
fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, are you ready to try to talk a little bit about the questions?
Uh, well, you know what? Uh, I love your questions. I
Okay.
have no idea where your brilliant mind goes when you get these pointed questions, but I guess I enjoy squirming a little bit, but that's that crazy personality that I have to deal with.
Well, we love that too. We love that too. So, first question. No, first of all, I want to say that these questions are not only for us, it's for everybody to ponder about.
Exactly.
Start thinking about what happens to you. How does a certain question resonate to you? What's coming up for you? So, first question, what feelings arise when you hear the words beyond the veil?
Well, before my journey, it always sounded like something that was foreboding and something that was out of reach and something that there had to be something traumatic in order to be privileged enough to penetrate the veil. Um, and understanding that only certain people had that ability. And now the difference is I'm in and out all the time. And so it's, as I refer to, I am one who lives between the worlds.
Yeah, and that is beautiful. You know, it's the world and society and culture and family, you name it, that teaches us what we should believe in and not, right?
Correct.
So stretching out, being that person who people sometimes see as a weirdo, that can happen, right? uh, Telling you what she's talking about, but it's not for certain people privileged. And I think that is something we have been taught as well. We all have the ability, but because we haven't been taught how to use it,
Mhm.
it's unknown to us, right? But
Yes.
everybody can. And by the way, um, I bet that each and every living person with a soul on this earth is traveling through dimensions while they are sleeping, but we usually don't remember. But
Yes.
that's okay, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, next question.
Ooh.
How do near death experiences shift our understanding of life's purpose? Oh, that's huge.
um, the only word that I could use for that, beyond your comprehension, because there is no way to be able to compare what it was before you had that experience, because you come back completely transformed. You feel things differently, you see things differently, and it's like you are in the flow with the energy, and there is no sharp edges, I guess would be a way that I would describe it. That it's kind of a comfortable knowing. And again, I say, I am this perfect, imperfect human, and I am still having my trials and tribulations. I'm still experiencing things that the physical is allowing me to master. That does not remove you from those experiences, but you have such a peace that you know that, hey, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Um, I didn't experience it in that way, but I had visitors coming. My great grandmother came once, and she kind of um, did this on my cheek. I could feel it, and she was past. She crossed over years before that.
Yes.
So I had all of those experiences, and my first really traumatic experience when I lost my boyfriend.
Oh, yes.
All of those experiences that I've seen things, I've heard things, I did, I knew that this is not the end of it. So I knew that, and it helped me tremendously. And the more we learn and the more we experience, and now working with this and also meeting entities from the other side, um, being guided, hearing things doesn't mean we don't question because that's who we are, right? It gives a totally different perspective of things.
Hmm.
And for me, I see the other side as home. That's my home. And
Oh,
eventually
yes.
I'm going to go back home. And to make a joke, yeah, I'm carefully going to read contracts next time. Uh, but but I also don't. My experience is, and it's my perception, we don't really have to come back here unless we want to. It's a free
Absolutely.
choice. Otherwise,
Yes.
where is that free will? And we have been taught so many things that are narrowing things down and making it complicated for us. So I think that those are things we also need to question. On the other side, it's much easier, I promise. And we don't continue having anger to someone. We see things. Okay, you acted this way towards me, and I did that to you, certain things, right? But there's no judgment.
Yes.
Uh, there is this infinite love. It never ends. It comes without expectations, without wanting something in return. You just share it. Um, it's a very different experience. It's fantastic, to be
Yes.
honest. It's life changing.
Yes, there's a beautiful book, and I didn't bring it because I just wasn't thinking about it, but it's a story about a soul that says, um, before they come, I want to experience, compassion and forgiveness. And so God says, well, that's a real tough one. You're going to have to find somebody who's willing to go to earth and help you be able to find that. So he asked around to all the other little souls. Well, nobody wanted that job because they'd have to be mean and ugly and this and that. And finally he found this one little soul and says, I'll go. I will do that. But please remember that I'm doing this because you asked me to do it. Now, that's an interesting concept that
Yeah,
the antagonist in our lives, we've made a contract with them that in order for me to really understand it, that that blows your mind when you think of the horrendous things that we have brought into our existence. However, if you are having a situation that is tough, you have to have something that brings it about. I decided that instead of being bringing people into my life anymore to do that, which I brought a lot, I decided to experience. Okay, let's see what it's like to get a new knee. Let's see what it's like to, have this and everything else. So I brought my own conflicts in because I think I've worn out all the people who agreed to come down and help teach me compassion. And but that's an interesting concept when we try to see it
It's,
in that perception.
it's not that unusual, to be honest. It's very, very common.
Hmm.
And it also means usually, it's my experience and perception, of course, that we tend to come in here with souls that we already are connected to.
Hmm.
Not always. So when you feel that you are an alien somewhere, you're probably among people here where you don't have that kind of soul connection, but that's
Right.
a choice also. They
Yes.
signed up to help you see many, many things. And a lot of people ask, why do light workers and lightened people have such difficult lives? It's not about having a difficult life. It's about we probably signed up for certain
Great.
things like you,
Yeah.
yeah, because we want to experience things so we can get that understanding. Because on the other side, because the universe and the world there is not functioning as it is here. So I th- I have heard many from the other side saying that it's a blessing to be able to come here, actually,
It
because
really
we
is
are
amazing.
presented with so many opportunities and possibilities to experience things. And therefore, there's no such a thing as punishment or reward.
Mm.
And it's just like, think of a theater, like we are acting towards each other, right?
Yep.
Someone, for you to have a bad experience, someone has to play the role.
Exactly. Exactly. And when we are pure energy, uh, we're infallible, and like super beings. And until we get down here and actually feel it, and we go, wait a minute, it sure looked a lot easier on the other side, but and maybe I should leave. And um, interesting, I've told my children, I said, when I'm ready to make my transition, I'm just going to step out of my body. I'm just, so I said, we better have everything in place because I'll probably go out to the desert and sit with the animals and just make my transition and just and everything. And Mom, you can't do that. And I said, well, I don't know, but you better have some way to prove that I am gone, because I'm just gonna disappear into the ethers. But there's, like I said, I'm not looking. I'm not saying, okay, now tomorrow I want to make my transition, but I'm saying that having been there and having helped people step through, it's like, okay, I'm going to find that e-ticket one of these days and I'm just going to stay.
That sounds like a plan, right?
Yes.
So, third question. What
Oh,
wisdom might these journeys offer about love and connection?
well, from a personal experience, to feel the kind of love that is all around us, but we have put up barriers against. That love is always here, But we have said, we're not worthy, we're not good enough, we're not this, we're not that. I have to do this when I get this, when I'm better, and put restrictions from feeling it. But that wisdom and that love is ours to reconnect. And through the things that we've been talking about, self-love, self-awareness, authenticity, uh, putting down the burdens and so forth, we all have the ability to touch it and to be
Yeah, we
part of
do.
it.
We do. We do. And fourth question. In
Ooh.
what ways can stories of crossing over dissolve fear of death? And I think you just said that,
I,
right?
I,
But
I, I
please.
think so. I think so.
Okay, so we jump to the next one.
Okay.
How do you imagine consciousness continues when the body no longer carries it?
Because we started as consciousness. We are unconditional love. We are pure consciousness. And the consciousness wishes to express itself and have a tactile experience.
Yeah,
And uh, we are not separate from, we are just in a vehicle that we have the ability to be able to touch, to be able to feel the emotions, to be able to do this. And our consciousness, I feel, is teaching our humanity how to be able to have this tactile experience and
mhm,
still remember that we are connected to all things.
exactly. And once you become aware of that consciousness and the veil and what's real and not, the fear just goes away. There's
Mhm.
no fear anymore. There's nothing to be fearful of.
On every Tuesday night when I have my meditation group get here, um, the theme, even though it varies a little bit, is always the same. You are the oneness. You are the physical experience of the oneness experiencing itself. We are not detached from it. We are not something less than. Without us, our consciousness could not have this divine experience.
No, no. And expanding consciousness, that term for me means that we close the gap between the incarnated person and what we know already, the perfectness, the divineness of the soul and our very core itself.
Mhm. Yes. Whew. Okay. I'm all warmed up.
You're warmed up. Good. That's good. Well, I think that it's fascinating, but it is life changing and it's very comforting, you know, um, in one way or another, how you understand and how you experience the veil and what's going on the other side, um, how it works. The more you do experience, the more natural it becomes because it is natural from the very beginning. It is natural. They say when a baby is born, it's different for each soul, of course, but it takes some time for the soul to be seated in the body.
Mhm.
And it's the same time when we leave, actually. Um, it's not like we need to learn something, but we need its adjustment because the body and the world here, the energy is so very dense, right? So then all of a sudden, sometimes when a soul leaves here, and if it's someone who crossed over very unexpectedly, they can feel confused, right? So
Mhm.
they can feel, that's why people say, I'm going to help that soul to the light, a little bit like you do. Um, it depends mostly on if there are drugs involved. I mean, not medications, but people who use drugs, self-medicating,
Mhm.
so to speak. That's a brilliant way of saying it, right?
Yes.
Or an accident or something where you all of a sudden, oh, what happened? But I see everything. Where am I? You know, trying to talk to people. There are a lot of people who have experienced that thing too, um, and then kind of adjusted and came to the place where they should be. And I think that is basically a matter of our perception because we can't really understand it. We have still a part of us here, and the soul has already left, right? But we can't really figure it out. We can't understand where we are. And have seen some interesting movies, and this is kind of a blowing your mind. And Nicole Kidman did a movie many years ago, The Others. I don't know if you've
Yes.
seen it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
interesting because what they are doing, I saw that years ago too. Um, she's moving in with her kids to a house. I don't remember the whole story, but the essence of things is they feel that the house is haunted, right? But those who are supposedly being the ghosts, they are thinking that the new people who moved in are the ghosts
Hmm.
because they are in different dimensions. It's
Exactly.
it's mind-boggling. It's interesting.
Yes.
And sometimes because of confusion, I I think that that can happen on the other side. It doesn't mean that we are doing anything wrong, we are evil, or there's something bad going on. It's just that we something happened and we can't really wrap our souls around it, right?
Yes. 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 Hmm. Wow.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
Good talk. Good talk. I love hanging out with you on Wednesdays. This is always uh, I when after we finish having our conversation, I feel as if I have run a marathon because when I am here with you, I am so encouraged to tap into the essence of my being, and it is I love it. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you too. So, what do you say, my beautiful cosmic sister? Are you
Yes.
ready to wrap it up?
I am. I am.
So, and we did all the questions, and you were not sweating, just not a bit, right? Good.
No, profoundly.
So, I start with you can find all past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. And of course, you can find our past episodes at youtube.com/at angelplaceonearth/streams and our brand new YouTube channel. So this is the first time we go live on Cosmic Guardians on YouTube. That's Cosmic Sis-Stars, right? That channel can be found at youtube.com/at Cosmic Guardians 111. So we had to put a number in because there are a few others, I guess, but we are the only ones doing Cosmic Sister
Fun.
Show. We will continue to stream on youtube.com/@angelplaceonearth/streams until we end this year, so we can make sure that everybody can find us, right? But you also can find us at facebook.com/cosmic guardians, because we always stream right after this show. We stream on that show, on that page as well. We made a couple of series, interesting series about the four agreements and the Celestial prophecy. You can find our series at angelplaceonearth.com/series cosmic guardians. And we do go live for you every Wednesday in US and Europe, and our future every Thursday in Australia, for Thursday early morning. Okay? If you want to connect with us, read articles, and find out everything there is about us, you can find Karine, her website, phone number, everything, and you can find me as well. Go to angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. A lot of slashes and dashes. And I would like, actually, I have two things today, one affirmation and one mantra. So we start with the affirmation. I am an eternal spark of light, gently guided beyond the veil of fear. Each breath reminds me that life and death are but sacred doorways, and my soul is forever embraced by love, wisdom, and infinite consciousness.
Mhm.
And the mantra that we can tell ourselves on a daily basis: I am light, I am eternal, I am love beyond the veil.
Perfect. Oh,
And as we return from this sacred journey, may the wisdom shared tonight and today continue to ripple through our hearts. Beyond the veil, we have glimpsed the truth that love is eternal, consciousness unbroken, and our souls forever luminous. Carry this light into your daily steps, knowing you are never alone, always guided, always embraced by the infinite. Until we gather again, may your path be blessed with peace, wonder, and radiant connection.
mhm.
With infinite love, peace, and joy, we see you, we hear you, we honor you, we love you, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Yes, I, I, I can only say ditto. And to all of the people in the world that celebrate the American holiday of Thanksgiving, happy
Yes,
Thanksgiving tomorrow, and be grateful of your uniqueness and
yes,
grateful that you are here to be that inspiration to someone that you may never even be aware of. So be
exactly.
true, be love, and be conscious.
And that is so you see the timing, always the timing. Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Hmm.
That's perfect. Everybody being gratitude, and we sending you all the love and gratitude, and there is.
Yes.
Until next time,
Bye bye.
bye.